Welcome on to the Tortillas and Takes podcast. You are on once again with your boy, I'll be sure. And we're talking pre-pod. And I think this might be the shortest episode we've had this season because we are recapping the shellacking that Texas Tech put on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. So to talk about what will likely be the shortest episode this season, because this is just not really much to it. You just beat a team, beat a bad team, you beat them like they were bad. And so to talk about all that is the people champion himself, Jeremy Gillen. What's up, Jeremy?
No disrespect to Oklahoma State, but for the better part of the afternoon,
All disrespect.
I have been researching on Kansas State because I thought we were going to talk about Kansas State, and then he put the title of the podcast, Oklahoma State whoopin, and I was like, I forgot we haven't talked about them. I just totally put it out of my mind. All right, we won, and then just went about my Saturday.
Yeah, this kind of I don't know the last time there was a conference matchup to where I was like, there's zero chance of a loss. Like zero.
Probably Kansas at some point,
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. But
it's a Kansas game. I can do other stuff today.
That's true. But at the same time, this is all I'll say about the Kansas years. This is how bad Oklahoma State is. There's not too many Kansas teams worse than this Oklahoma State team.
No, there's not. There is not, buddy.
Yeah. I know some Oklahoma State fans will be like, wait, hold on a second. That's kind of a little much. That just puts in perspective how bad this Cowboys team is. Because here's the thing. Texas Tech wins this game 42-0. And I think everybody on the Tech side will feel like Tech offense did not play well in this game.
Oh, yeah. We
didn't play well in this game. We put up 42 points. And even if you want to take away the two touchdowns that the offense didn't score, you still say, okay, well, they still put up 28 points. They put up 4 touchdowns. They still covered the spread. But it still wasn't a great offensive performance. So let's talk about it a little bit. Texas Tech did win this game 42-0, and 21 of those points were scored in the first quarter. It started off with a Jacoby Williams return. Honestly, you could have turned the game off after that kickoff return because you knew what it was. Jacoby Williams to the house. Kickoff return where he made a guy miss and just was faster than everybody else. And right then and there, it's like, all right, well, game over.
Truthfully, see ya.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll at least say this. I think special teams made a very conceited effort to pick up blocking assignments. Jacoby Williams. Our kick returns are not. I mean, they are not a commonplace anymore. Ever since those, kick return rules been set in place, most people strategically and for the right reasons, just call fair catch or let it go out of the back, just because it's like, let's give our people the best starting and not, it's a gamble at this point in college football when you return it that if you don't make it to that 25-yard line, it's like, well, I shouldn't have returned it at all. So it's a gamble every time. And, I do appreciate still going for guys still trying it out, because then you do get moments like this where I turn the game on after the delay and I'm doing something else around the house. I'm getting some stuff ready or whatever. And the crowd just starts going nuts, right? I was like, oh, it's kickoff, whatever. Let me do something. And the crowd's going nuts. And I look out and Jacoby's, running it in at the same time. So there is still kind of a magic to college football in that way that we just don't see many kick returns in general, even against bad teams. Kick returning is still something that's not just that easy. So big ups to Jacoby Williams taking it at 99 to the house.
He's going after that Jet Award. I will say, what's funny about that return touchdown? It made everyone forget the fact that there's no more tortillas at kickoff.
It was perfectly scripted.
Yeah. Like if Kirby Hope couldn't have asked for one, fans behaved themselves. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty surprised about. I definitely thought we'd see a bunch of tortillas in the air. We did not. Fans behaved themselves, and then also, but that was no longer really a talking point. It was like, oh, touchdown, and it wasn't until I think we were in like the fourth quarter where I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Still more tortilla toss. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Jacoby Williams ran down for a touchdown. Funny enough, so defense forced a 3-and-out, one play. So this is how bad Oklahoma State is. You give up a touchdown on a kickoff return. Offense goes through a 3-and-out. Your punter is bad, so he doesn't do a great job punting. and we end up getting the ball on. We return it to the 26-yard line. Shout out to Tillman. Sorry. It's actually blocked. My bad. Not even return. Punter doesn't do a great job. Punt gets blocked. It's on the 26-yard line. And then one play, it's a touchdown. Right? So we are not even 3 minutes. Like, that's the thing is that this game up to this point, I'm like, man, we were playing Arkansas Pine Bluff again.
That's right.
This is pretty much shellacking, and it's 14-0 from that point on. And like I mentioned a little bit later on in the first quarter, nice 13-play drive where we actually see the offense get to do something. Will Hammond, after having a 3-and-out to start his second drive of the game, starts to really move it down. Matt Leftwich does a good job calling a lot of short passes and run plays. Cam Dickey starts to run a little bit more. A lot of people were screaming for Dickey to run a lot more the week before against Arizona State, so he gets an opportunity to run some. And then we cap it off with a pretty nice Cam Dickey touchdown run, and it's 21-0 at this point, and we're looking good. Now we have the second quarter. And yeah, so the second quarter, where let's just talk to me just about the offense. Defense played fantastic. I mean, defense, even in that second quarter, the no good second quarter, Oklahoma State only got 1 first down that entire quarter. And so it's not like the defense was an issue, right? Actually, the whole first half, Oklahoma State only got 1 first down. And then also, obviously, Jacob Rodriguez, that fumble recovery. Really, he just ripped a football out of a grown man's hands.
Incredible.
For a touchdown, right? So the defense was incredible as always. Offensively, though, second quarter, pretty rough.
Yeah, I think that really reared its ugly head in that moment where, and the Will Hammond fumble, I remember, really wasn't so. That felt for me like, oh, kind of a young guy mistake. Trying to run without security over the ball, trying to maybe do a little too much on the play. For me, whenever Hammond went out and Mitch Griffiths came in, and we were up on that shotgun, it was like 4th and 1, and I thought, oh, going to hand it off to the running back, or going to do a play action pass. Go for it if you have a faith in Griffiths like that. But to basically pull a quarterback designed run on 4th and 1 with a quarterback who just got in, who isn't built to be the 4th and 1 guy, I would say. I think we confidently say. That felt like a very much, hey, you said you were going to stop kind of pulling this stuff and you wanted to do it anyways, and it didn't work. It backfired on us, right? Thank God for Jacob Rodriguez, because it was that next drive where he said, I'm kind of pissed about this. I'm going to take that ball and run. But after that, I mean, just you really didn't have many opportunities, just very lackluster play calling. I would say that, the introduction of Mitch Griffiths. So another reason I think people felt that this offensive, the offensive production in this game was lackluster, despite having 21-point first quarter, despite having that 14-point third quarter. You come up with no points in the fourth, right? You're still running out of time, but like no points against one of the worst teams, the worst team in the Big 12, one of the worst teams in the country. And you only pull out 7 when you had multiple opportunities in the second quarter, right? You had this weird pacing. And a lot of people are going to look at Mitch Griffiths and say, oh, because he's not ready. He came in, he wasn't ready to kind of run this offense. But at the same time, it's like Mitch Griffiths, Will Hammond, Baron Morton, like this needs to be, from a play calling standpoint, this needs to be designed in a way that is appreciative of, hey, these quarterbacks are a little bit different in, their talents and abilities. In the same way that I kind of had the critique that it feels very much like Leftwich, the playbook has been designed for Morton. And then his like pocket playbook for Hammond was like all quarterback draws and like quarterback runs. That like for Mitch Griffiths, I'm like, does he even have anything for Mitch? Because Mitch has been the third stringer that for us really off the radar, really like, okay, whatever. Came out of Wake Forest, actually coming out of a construction job before he was at Wake Forest. It's like, okay, I don't really know why, I really don't know why Joey went after this guy and they got this guy, but they did. And so he's kind of completing the quarterback room. Didn't really expect to see him. And now here we are. Will Hammond goes down. And at the time, it really didn't feel like that much. It felt like Turf Monster. Turns out it was Turf Monster in the worst way. But Hammond going down and Mitch Griffis coming in for the rest of the game, it just felt like, man, the offense just took this huge step backwards. That there was a little bit of cohesion in that first quarter. It felt really nice. Felt like we're getting some mojo back. And as soon as Will Hammond goes down, I don't know what to do with this guy. We have a real big issue if the quarterback that's under center, with the health of our quarterbacks as a whole. I think Mitch Griffis obviously being the most healthy, but still it's like we got a little bit of an issue here in Lubbock, Texas that I really wish wasn't when we have everything else going so well for us.
Yeah, in fact, our quarterback just cannot seem to stay healthy. It's kind of crazy. So with that, Will Hammond did tear his ACL in that second quarter, and it's kind of crazy because you don't think it didn't look that bad on the field. It didn't look like it was any that too terrible of an issue. I thought, okay, well, he's out, he's injured, but it's fine. Mitch Griffis will come in here. The game's already over. It's 21-0. We'll be okay. And then you find out after the game that it's a torn ACL, which is the torn ACL is interesting because obviously Will Hammond was a safety net for a Baron Morton injury, but also as we think to next year, Baron Morton will not be here next year. Right. It was Will Hammond's turn to get the keys to the offense next year. And with that injury, we are now sitting in October, late October. He may be ready to go by August of next year, but it's really not a guarantee, right? So now you're in a scenario, if we think about this next year, where you are having to question, not only do we need to go to the portal to get a quarterback, we may need to go to the portal to get a starting caliber quarterback. Right. And then where do you go? Do you try to go after the best quarterback possible? What if Will Hammond's ready? Do you go after a quarterback that's good enough to start if Hammond is out? All right. Do you go into the season saying, okay, well, we have enough confidence in Mitch Griffis and Lloyd Jones. Lloyd Jones will be here next year as well. They're ready to go. We have enough confidence in those two guys that if Hammond's not ready to go, that they'll be okay. I wouldn't say we should have that much confidence in that, especially with how much we want this team to grow. So it's a lot of questions as we think to the future. But all we know is for this year, I will say this year I'm actually not too worried. I think one thing that we saw in this game is that Mitch Griffis ain't too shabby. Right? I think a lot of people forgot that Mitch Griffis was at Wake Forest last year. He would have been fighting for the starting job at Wake Forest last year. Right now, I'm not saying he would have got it, but he would have been at least in the running to get it, which means that on a Power 4 conference team, ACC team, it was a team that didn't want – it's not like they pushed him out of the door, right? He could have stayed. He decided to come back home. He grew up a Texas Tech fan. He was perfectly fine, and that's I really respect players that are perfectly fine with saying, you know what, I'm okay holding a clipboard for the school I actually want to go to, right? I'm perfectly fine with that. And now, but watching him in this game, he actually played really well. He actually played better than Hammond in this game. Now, I'm not saying he's a better quarterback than Hammond before this gets clipped and thrown out somewhere. I'm not saying he's a better quarterback than Hammond, but he did play pretty well in this game. We've only seen him sparingly before, so to see him in rhythm, start getting things work, played well enough to where in the second half especially, where Holden Phillips got burned. Holden Phillips was like, who, me? Me. You called me to get in the game. Oh. And so I'm not actually as worried, I think, as the rest of everybody else if Morton wants to go down, because I do think Griffis I think Griffis would be a backup on a lot of teams.
So Joey actually spoke to this point in the presser yesterday. He was talking about, I think people, he said, people got to understand that Mitch Griffis is a quarterback that a lot of teams would like to have on their team. Some, even in the FBS level, some would like them to start for their team because he's got just a lot of talent and ability that fits their schemes and schedules. And so it's not like, and again, we can't, in the same breath, we can't be looking at, getting guys like Skylar Howard, David Bailey and stuff and go, man, this team is so good at recruiting. They're doing all things right. They're getting the right guys for our team. And then look at Mitch Griffis and go, yeah, that was just kind of a charity pick. Yeah, hey, come on, Mitch. You shouldn't be doing construction. You love football. Come on, we have extra money. They had a something in mind for Mitch when they brought him onto the team, and now he's whether he wanted to or not, he's stepping up to the plate to be the backup for a quarterback who's had a really, really, really difficult time staying healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this game, once Mitch Griffiths took over, first quarter still didn't really operate well, but I think this team has done a really good job of going back to the drawing board in the second half. That 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, especially that first touchdown, you're like, okay, they got it going. Great 8-play drive there. Nice passes. That first drive, also, you got to really start seeing the talent of Mitch Griffiths a little bit, right? Yeah. You launch a play out to Douglas, which probably is a catch. I understand why they called it incomplete. I still think it was a catch, right? It hit Douglas, but it hits Douglas right in the hands, right in between the defenders. Really good throw. And then Griffiths is like, "Oh, you gonna call that incomplete? I bet." Throws it right back to Douglas once again for this time for a 42-yard touchdown pass, right? So great play call from Matt Leftwich, great pass and great touch from Mitch Griffiths into a touchdown. All happy, joy. We do end up getting a fumble by Cam Dickey later on. But, it's at this point 35-0. The game is over, right? And so Wisniewski with a nice little fumble recovery there also in the third quarter. Griffiths extends the lead once again in the third, and the fourth quarter was Holden Phillips, who Oklahoma State's over here saying like, no, we didn't even know they had a 4-string quarterback. And by that fourth quarter, it was all about, all right, our backups, keep the shutout. Can you keep the shutout backups? And there was one drive where it looked like they may not be able to, right? One drive where on 4th and 3, Walters is in the game. I did find it interesting that Oklahoma State actually went to Walters at quarterback. But Walters is in the game. He on a 4th and 3 tries to run it up the middle and gets stuffed. And that is really Oklahoma State's only chance of getting points in this game. Jeremy, let me ask you this one question. That would have been about a 55-yard field goal, maybe 53, 54. Would you have kicked a field goal and tried to not get a shutout?
No, I would have. No, I would have worked the offense. No? Unless you're just like, hey man, we brought the kicker all the way down here. Let's let him do something. Yeah. He's like, it's 70 yards. Go out there and try your best. Let's see how far you can kick it. No, I think that for me, at that point, it's just getting in reps offensively. What can we try to? Can we just try to? You're going to lose this game, but can we try to find, the free space in the defense where we can get some yardage there? But
Doug Meacham is just coaching on vibes. He's just like, we're all just out here having fun. Doug Meacham and Oklahoma State right now are just like, hey man, is everyone having fun? We're just here to have fun, have a good time. Yeah. My daughter's soccer team, my 6-year-old daughter's soccer team, they're playing a year up. So they're a bunch of 6-year-olds, and they're playing against 7-year-olds. They're 5 and 6-year-olds playing up against 7-year-olds, right? Mm-hmm. So they get whooped most of their games, right? And so our job as parents is mostly just to give them, high spirits. Like, hey, make sure you're still having fun. Yeah, we're losing 20-0. Don't worry about that. Go out there and have a good time. And that's Doug Meacham in Oklahoma State. They are playing a couple years up. They're getting beat 42-0. And as it comes to the sideline, they're just like, hey guys, everyone having fun? Are we having a good time? Hey, look at the stand when they're at home. Look at the stand. There's shirtless guys in the stand.
Look how much fun these guys are having. That's what we're out here for.
Even they watch Family Guy on the sidelines instead of tape. They're just like all right, final stats. Mitch Griffiths, 9 for 13, 172 yards and a touchdown. Will Hammond, 9 for 15, 102 yards and a touchdown. Holden Phillips completed his only pass of the game towards the end. I do find it funny that I'm pretty positive they were just like, hey, man, let's try to have – it was like a third and 6 or whatever. Like, let's try to have Holden throw the ball. Like, let's fulfill his dreams. Okay?
That's right. Get out there. We'll get a picture of you, Holden.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's
kind of a good throw stance.
It's kind of how it felt like for Oklahoma State putting Noah Walters in. That was another thing that I was kind of surprised to see there. Noah Walters did get in this game as well. And so he had 5 for 12, 39 yards. Sam Jackson, 9 for 19. The two quarterbacks combined did not pass for 100 yards. Total 87 passing yards for that team. Rushing yards, total 95 rushing yards. Led with Trent Howland from Oklahoma State, 13 carries, 58 yards. Sexy, 6 runs for 16 yards himself. On the winning team side, not too many runs. I mean, Cam Dickey had a couple good drives there, 13 carries, 47 yards, a touchdown. Also that fumble. Will Hammond, you talked about the QB runs, 4 runs, 21 yards for him. Oliver Miles getting some burn in this, 4 runs, 13 yards. Then Jacoby Williams, 4 runs, 10 yards. Receiving for Texas Tech, Caleb Douglas, 5 catches, should have been 6, for 98 yards and a touchdown. Jacoby Williams, 3 catches, 60 yards and a touchdown. Coy Eakin, 5 catches, 48 yards. Oklahoma State, Gavin Freeman, probably the only one on offense that can say he had a decent game. 6 catches, 47 yards for him in this game. Defensively, Jacob Rodriguez, man. Jacob Rodriguez, 10 tackles, a tackle for loss, a fumble recovery for a touchdown. It's funny, he was not the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week, and I'm pretty positive it's because he's already won it too many times. Like, they were already like, dude, we can't just give it to you every week. Texas Tech has started the Jacob Rodriguez for Heisman campaign, it seems like, and I think it's really smart. He's not going to win it. He's not going to win it. But what it does do by putting him out there, by saying he should win Heisman, what it does do is it makes him the favorite for all the other awards. Nagurski, Lombardi, right? But
and it gets his name, he's already on draft boards, but it gets his name even, kind of further in that conversation of like,
exactly.
Let's take a deeper look at this guy. If people are out here calling for him to be a Heisman, seriously calling for him to be a Heisman.
Exactly, because people are lazy, right? A lot of times with these awards or drafts like that, they're lazy. They don't. Even scouts that are paid a lot of money to do this are lazy, right? And so they need to hear the name first. So if you hear the name Jacob Rodriguez, you're voting for the Butkus, and you're like, oh yeah, they got a Heisman campaign. Oh, he must be pretty good, right? And so also Cole Wisniewski, probably his best game of the season. They had a really good game in this one as well, which I would say, though, having your best game of the season is Oklahoma State. Does it count?
No. Not really. But, yeah, players got to play.
Players got to play. Who's your defensive player of the game?
Jacob Rodriguez. I don't, there's no reason.
That's not, what are we doing here?
What are we doing?
There's nothing else here. I was about to say Ben Roberts is probably backup. Like, he's probably number 2. Like, Ben Roberts also had a really good game in this one as well. All right, offensively, who's your player of the game? That one doesn't really matter, but
no. But I like Mitch Griffiths for stepping up. Hey, Will Hemm's going to play this game. He's probably great. Oh no, he tore his ACL because you never see that coming. Get in there, Mitch. Oh God. Okay. Yeah.
His name is Mitch. Okay, man, don't call him out as I'm a female dog over here.
I said Mitt you, whatever. Albert constantly campaigning to get me canceled.
Mitch is probably the answer offensively. I also want to give a shout out to Caleb Douglas. I think he had a really good game. I mean, he helped his quarterback out.
Hey,
they talked about in the game also that they do have a game plan to get Caleb Douglas more involved. And I've said it all. I still believe Caleb Douglas is the most talented player we have on offense, and so getting him more involved makes sense when you have a quarterback like Mitch Griffiths. You got to help the quarterback out, and C-Dog did that. So
that's right. Saw some Micah Hudson burn this game.
Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out. Micah Hudson, 2 catches, 32 yards, including that nice sideline catch.
That's right.
And meanwhile, Kelby Valson is also on the sideline, like, hey guys, I also got to play.
Hey,
I've been waiting all year too.
I will say the Texas Tech, and we did a really good job of rotating so many receivers, starting in the Leach era, kind of bleeding through. It's interesting to me for Mac Leftwich to really wrangle down on, I'm only going to do like 4 dudes, and that's it. And it's not that it's a bad thing, but it is a change of culture from what Texas Tech has been known to do, which is like, hey, we're just going to burn you out with all the receivers. We're going to rotate them in so much that everybody's getting rest, everybody's getting action. You never know where we're going to throw. And I think that was a really unique power of those early air raid then develop, spread offenses is, when you have so many receivers, who are they really going to toss it to? Hard to tag a guy like that. But Mac Leftwich kind of like dialing down. So this game was definitely more of more out there because we saw a few more receivers than we're used to seeing. So I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him for cycling some dudes in.
Yeah, the only thing that when it comes to fans, like, we can't keep doing this whole Micah Hudson thing. And what I didn't like is I saw some people saying that, then they start bashing some of the receivers we do have. Like, I saw a couple tweets was like, oh, well, we already have receivers that can't get separation. Why can't Michael Hudson get them burned? I'm like, who are the receivers you speak of? Because Reggie Virgil gets separation. Caleb Douglas is going to moss somebody, and Coy E can always find himself open. So who are the receivers you talking about? Now, I think we can argue as far as the philosophy, and like you said, Jeremy, the philosophy of rotating players in, but it ain't because the starters ain't good enough. The starters receiving core is one of the best in the conference. So fix your mouth. Watch yourself.
That's right. That's what I'm saying, man. Trust the staff, trust this team. If it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. Well, what else is broken this weekend around the Big 12?
The Big 12, yeah. Turf fields. Are we ever going to have a conversation about moving to grass? And I only say that with the history of injuries, non-contact injuries that are starting to plague, that have been plaguing Texas Tech for years now. I don't know, man. I think that if you're gonna flaunt all this big money, I think it's time for you to move to a natural grass field. I really do. There's just so much science and so much has gone into illustrating how turf fields have increased injury for, football. Remember, I had AstroTurf in the NFL, and they're like, "Wait a minute, this is terrible. We gotta get away from this."
Sucks.
Yeah, so going back to kind of a natural grass opportunity, I think that's just a really good opportunity for Texas Tech going forward. You've already got the rebrand, you've got the everything. There's no reason to be hanging on to the turf field. I know you got the money. If you have money to plant tulips every third week throughout the year, you got money to maintain a grass field in the lower bowl, of Jones AT&T. So I don't know. I think there needs to be a bigger push there.
Ooh, it's cooking. He's cooking. So that is a really good point. A really good point. So you heard that, Hocut? Put grass up in there. So big game this weekend. Houston at Arizona State. Now, in a game where Jordan Tyson didn't play and Sam Levitt got hurt midway through, Houston had a big 24-0 lead. Almost lost it all. Almost lost it all. But still, listen, I don't care that Sam Levitt only played 2/3 or half of this game. I don't care that Jordan Tyson didn't play. This is a good win for the Cougs. They keep getting lucky, and that's okay. Their record is still 7-1. Doesn't matter they keep getting lucky. Doesn't matter that they keep finding teams at their worst moments. None of that matters. All that matters is their record says 7-1. And guess what, everybody? The more Houston wins, the better it looks for Texas Tech.
That's right.
So keep winning, Cougs. Keep winning. I do find it funny that Coug fans are like, yeah, every time we can tuck down on Tech, we're going to. Meanwhile, Tech fans are like, yay, go Cougs. You beat Arizona State. Good job. We wanted you to win that game. And they're like, wait, what?
That's right.
I thought we hated each other. Like, no, you just hate us. That's the
You just hate us. You have helped our cause by beating Arizona State. Idiots.
That's right. Another big game. BYU and Phillip laughed at me.
We did.
Laughed at me. And BYU figures it out again. Let me tell you.
They cannot keep getting away with this. Did you see Parker's? You see the stats of war win spread on this thing? They're literally all the way to the left of they should not have won this game. Iowa State, you gave them this game. I'm embarrassed for the entire state of Iowa.
It's once again another game where Iowa State had a game. Their quarterback is Rocco Becht. In a game where you needed a quarterback to not make mistakes, Rocco Becht made a lot of mistakes.
He made mistakes, yep.
And Bear Bachmeier just didn't. It's just as simple as that. Bear Bachmeier is like, I don't need to do much. This team is good enough to do it on their own. BYU, back-to-back 8-0 seasons. This is a good team, man. And but don't look – I know Tech fans want to look ahead to that big matchup in 2 weeks. Tech got to take care of business first. At Kansas State ain't going to be no cakewalk because Kansas State beat the hell out of the Jayhawks this weekend. 42-17. K-State's starting to look nice. Starting to look good. And Matt Wells wants this one. Matt Wells wants this one.
Yes.
In Lubbock.
He wants to stack success here. He absolutely does.
He definitely wants to stack effing success. But Avery Johnson is now a quarterback also figuring out, I don't got to do much. I don't have to do much. I can just chill, let the game come to me. So K-State, looked really good winning that game, 42-17. You know who didn't look good? The Baylor Bears. Baylor Bears got whooped against Cincinnati. Cincinnati, another team that's looked pretty good. Your boy Brendan Sorsby didn't do that much. I mean, Brendan Sorsby kind of chilled because he didn't really have to. The running game put up 265 yards on their own. And so in this game, they were like, they got an early lead and they just sat on it and ran it. And I don't know. Cincinnati having one of the better O-lines in the conference was not something that I pegged for them to have in just year 3 in the Big 12, but they do. And Baylor got abused.
Yeah, Scott Satterfield has done a really good job this season of identifying opponents' weaknesses and going after that. Not doing too much. Like you said with Avery Johnson, Coach Satterfield has basically said, hey, if Baylor sucks at defending the run, I'm not going to give him anything through the air. Like, we'll do what, if we have to. But, like, I'd rather just punish them for what they're bad at. And it's really worked out for Cincinnati this season. Now Cincinnati, a team that really nobody's talking about at the beginning of the season, they're 5-0, in conference.
Yeah, they're 5-0.
Looking good.
Well, they're 5-0 in conference. Their rough stretch is about to come for the Bearcats. Sure. They got at Utah coming up, then Arizona, then BYU, then TCU. So we're going to see what the Bearcats are really made of coming up here pretty soon. Mm. TCU at West Virginia. It's always a far flight out to Morgantown. TCU squeaks out a W in Morgantown against a bad West Virginia team. West Virginia, at least the defense, got to be feeling a little bit good about themselves. A little moral victory Monday. As for them only losing by a touchdown or less than a touchdown, had an opportunity to even win the game if offense could muster up anything. But Scotty Fox Jr., not a bad game. Over 300 yards passing in this one. Maybe Rich Rod has found his quarterback on the West Virginia side. Offense didn't do too much. It's kind of weird to see West Virginia with 300 yards passing, only 40 yards rushing. But it somewhat worked, and they were right there. They almost had a shot to win the game and upset the Horned Frogs there at the end. But, TCU was able to kind of run it out and end the game with a couple of kneel downs.
Mm-hmm. Not much to say there, but I will come back to this game in our Kansas State preview for sure, because I think this is really indicative of Kansas State's last couple of victories.
Of Kansas State's last couple of victories,
right? Because Kansas State played them. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Interesting. Yeah. And then Colorado.
Hey, get out,
man, buddy. Now Prime has really got off scot-free this year.
That's right.
Nobody blames them for anything. They're just like, it's Colorado.
This happens.
But this is a really bad loss. Bad mark on him. Bad mark on the team. Their jerseys looked too good in their jerseys to lose as bad as they did. Because the jerseys were fire.
Yeah.
Right. Caden Salter looked awful. Caden Salter looked terrible. Oh my God. Maybe the worst performance by a quarterback in the Big 12 all year. He looked god awful. Ryan Staub came in after him, and Salter was not injured. Staub just came in. He looked terrible. Colorado, just everything about them looked bad in this game. Yeah. And Dan Pierre didn't play.
Right.
Dan Pierre was out in this game, and they still put up 53 points.
Yeah.
And it's not because Bird Ficklin played well. Put it out like that. In a game where the quarterback, well, at least on the air, he didn't play well. On the ground, he was awesome. But in a game where the passing game didn't do much, right, you still gave the other team 53 points. An absolute embarrassing performance by Colorado. They should be ashamed.
Like you said, I'm surprised that Prime hasn't gotten more flack from it this year. I think it's just a mismanagement of his roster, and he got off. I mean, he an electric season last season for Colorado. Everybody's following him. Everybody cares. We're seeing all the commercials for Prime, for everything, and then just where are they this year, right? So hey, they got a new Ralphie, young Ralphie. All right, fantastic. Don't talk about the program though. Let's just focus on the Buffalo. Good for them.
Well, I mean, so Pat Shurmur's a scapegoat. Everyone's talking about how terrible Pat Shurmur is, and he's the reason they're awful, and he's the reason they're bad, and yada, yada, yada. So they found their scapegoat. But they better hope that is the problem, because if not, this ain't gonna last very long. That is a bad loss. Anyways, Jeremy, anything else you want to say to the people?
Nope. Nope.
All right.
We won.
So a big couple games coming up for Texas Tech. These next two games will decide whether we're in Arlington or not. Just point blank. At Kansas State, home against BYU. Kansas State's starting to figure it out. We are playing Kansas State at the worst time. K-State always beats us. This is a game in Manhattan. I don't care their record is, 4-4. They're starting to figure it out at the worst time. We need to have a very good day in practice. It's weird because it shouldn't be a trap game, considering that we all respect Kansas State and know that they should be good to go. But it also is a trap game in the fact that we're probably going to have a top 12 matchup next week if we're able to take care of business at Kansas State. I do not think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a tough, rough, rock'em sock'em game. We got to find a way to win it here. So I saw some stats that basically said that K-State has not played a defense as good as ours, and that may be true. Maybe we'll make Avery Johnson look like he did early in the season. That'd be great. Yeah. But we've got to come with it. This will be Barron's first game back in 3 games. It won't shock me if he's rusty in this game too. This game does worry me. It's worried me all year, even when K-State was going through their problems. This game does worry me a little bit, and so we could absolutely slip up on this one. And then, of course, we have the massive matchup, basically a Big 12 semifinal the following week against BYU. So.
Yeah. Already ABC, ESPN, already announced. Hey, this is going to be a big one. So
it is. What do you think about the 11 a.m. kickoff against BYU?
Buddy, I have been thankful that when we're on the road, we're playing early. So I can't turn around and say, BYU, you got lucky, because we've been getting lucky all season. I mean, we got 2:30 kickoff in Manhattan, so I'm not upset about that. It sucks to have the early slot for a game like BYU, but I do think the atmosphere has been a lot better this season. That 11 a.m., it's going to be packed, especially for a top 10 BYU team.
Yeah, I think so. It should still be a good time. Should still be a raucous game. Like I said, it's going to be a Big 12 semifinal if Texas Tech can take care of business in Manhattan.
Yeah, big game coming up. Big game coming up.
All right. So we're going to talk about that game later on this week. But for now, signing off for the People's Champ, that is Jeremy Gillen. This is your boy, Albie Shore, and you have been listening to the Tortillas and Take podcast, part of the 1012 Network. As always, stay right, people.